Welcome to Bridging the Gap. I'm Tom McCombs, and this session is titled The Interpersonal Gap, a model by John Wallen. I would first like you to take a look at a clip that demonstrates an interpersonal gap.
Das hier ist mein Sektor. Das hier ist das wichtigste Gerät des Küstenwächters. Das Gerät und das Gerät. Überlebensradar.
Mayday, Mayday. Hello, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you... Over. We are sinking. We are sinking.
Hello? This is the German Coast Guard.
We are sinking. We're sinking.
What are you thinking about?
Now that's a severe example. Are they always that severe? Well, sometimes. Let's think of another example. You're driving home from work and you're hungry and you want to know what's for dinner. So you walk into the home and you say, "Hi honey, what's for dinner?" What's the impact? One impact might be that it's your birthday and she's excited that you're home for dinner and she's prepared a special dish for you. Another impact might be that it's been a frustrating day. She's been working with the kids, the house is a mess, and she hasn't got to dinner yet. So she might be angry and say, "Well, whatever you want to fix." Third example, she might feel guilty. She forgot that you're coming home at that time. She's been busy, and she had prepared it on time. She might say, "I'm sorry, honey, I forgot. I'll get it in just a minute." Three different kinds of impacts from the same intent. Now let's look at the model, the interpersonal gap. Person A has an intent, and in this case, he wants to know what's for dinner. So that passes through some filters where the intent is encoded into some form of action. And in this case, the action is, he walks in the door, he smiles, he says, "Hi honey, what's for dinner?" This then goes through some filters to person B who has an impact. The filters are things like what they have observed, their experience in the past when they've observed something very similar, or impacted by how they're feeling that day. The filters then are used to decode the action, or to translate or interpret the action. And then it's followed by an impact, which is primarily emotion. It can be anger, it can be frustration, it can be happy, it could be sad, or it could be guilt. Problems begin when person B believes their interpretation or judgment is a fact about person A, because person B does not know person A's intent. So does the intent always match up perfectly with the impact? Well, probably not. But in many cases, it's close enough. But when it's not, then there's a gap. Who has responsibility for bridging the gap? Is it person A that should have made it clearer, or is it person B that should have understood better? A colleague of mine, Jack Fontaine, said it's 100% at the interface. Person A should do all they can to help person B understand, and person B should do whatever they can to understand the intent. It's interesting I'm talking about the intent instead of the action. The action, we made up some behaviors and some words, but the words or behaviors don't always translate in what person A intended. Have you ever heard, "Well, you said this, so you must have meant it"? Doug Gibbs said, "Meanings are in people, meanings are not in words." In other words, the intent may not get translated as they would like, and the meaning may be different than what the action is. For example, have you ever thought, "Why did I say that? Boy, I didn't mean that." Let's look at this model again. The intent of person A, is it public or private? Well, it's private. It's only known to person A. How about the action? Is it public or private? Well, the action's public because everyone sees or hears it. What about the impact? Is it public or private? Well, again, the impact is also private because it's only known to person B. Some time ago, the University of Purdue did a study to find out how people get their information. Is it from the words, the tone of voice, or is it body language? The study found that people receive 7% of their information from the words, 36% from tone of voice, and 57% from body language. So what are some ways that we can bridge gaps? One might be something called a behavior description, where person B describes the behavior they saw and lets them know the impact on them. An example might be, a few minutes ago I saw you walk in the room and you said, "Hi honey, what's for dinner?" I was frustrated and irritated at the time, and I thought, why didn't you ask me how I'm doing? And I became angry. Another way to bridge the gap might be a paraphrase, where you find out what does a person mean. You might say something like, do you mean, and then what you interpret or thought they meant. Person A might try something like, it looks like you're upset with what I said. Let me try to explain what I meant. So there are different ways that we can bridge gaps, and we'll be talking those as skills in the future. Let me conclude by having you fill in the following statement. I know you by your, most people would say, actions. But that's not accurate. I know you by my interpretation of your actions. Next time I'm going to talk about two skills, behavior description and perception check. And I'm going to show you how a magic trick, the disappearing coin, can help illustrate behavior description and perception check.